I don't know, bro. Kagurabachi 106. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. Would you want me to sit here and act like I've predicted everything and I have a foggiest idea what's going to happen next and how the hell we get out of this, like, Shibuya incident type situation that just looks unwinnable? I'm not doing that, bruv. I don't know where we go from here. I'm completely lost. I ain't got a clue. So obviously last chapter, we had Akamura Soga taking over Yura's body. He's fully manifested. Basically like when Sukuna was, unleashed in Shibuya. There's nothing anyone can do about it. I think that's pretty clear. Samura and Chihiro are still trying to fight him. Like, what are they going to be able to do? Let's be real. There's nothing right now that's going to stop this guy, which is why there needs to be some reason moving forward that he turns back into Yura. I don't know. I just can't see a way out of this situation. Anyway, let's go through the chapter because this is such a mess. Peak though, obviously peak. So it starts with a little flashback to Kunishige and Chihiro. Kunishige is, sat there talking to his fish, and Chihiro studying. And he asks his dad what the Sword Saint was like, and his dad, who looks very upset, is like, just read the book, man. Whatever you see in the book, that's the truth, innit? So obviously, not telling Chihiro the truth. And then we cut to Shiba, who is huffing and puffing, taking a very well-deserved break, a very well-deserved rest, sitting on a bench outside the train station, just sort of sweating and huffing. And he goes, nah, it can't be. This energy, which not only means that Shiba recognizes the energy, but it also means that this energy seems to be like, what, making Shiba worried? I didn't think that was possible, bro. I thought Shiba was top 1, but whatever, man. I guess maybe the Sword Saint might be stronger than Shiba, maybe. But seriously, I'm just saying, yeah, Gojo was out of breath when he cleared out a train station. This dude just cleared out most of the city, and he's only now sweating and huffing and puffing. Give him credit, man. I've seen too much Shiba slander at the moment. He deserves credit for that. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, Akamura then deadass perception blitzes Chihiro. Chihiro doesn't even bother saying he's fast. He just says he's too fast. It's like Chihiro gives up immediately. He's like, nah, this guy's too quick. Nah, what am I meant to do? Magatsumi being held to Chihiro's neck. Amazing, like, panel of them stood side by side. There is some very obvious, like, Chihiro-Akamura parallels in this chapter. It does seem like Akamura is basically what Chihiro would become if it wasn't for his experiences and him, following his own path. It kind of goes back to the thing his dad was always telling him about, don't try and be me, don't try and be someone else, make sure you follow your own path. And it's the fact that Chihiro had his own experiences and followed his own path. I mean, I guess he's still in the process of doing that, so the actual end result is still yet to be seen. But as of right now, he's not like the Sword Saint, he's not like Soga, because he is, living his own life to an extent. Yeah, Chihiro's like, I don't know you, bro. How do you know my name? Like, what's up? Basically, that's when we get, the proper reveal that the Sword Saint, is the younger brother of Chihiro's mother, which makes him his uncle. And as the Sword Saint, I need to stop calling him the Sword Saint. As Akamura tells Chihiro, he is basically his uncle, which Chihiro didn't have a clue about. And fun fact, he bought Chihiro's bib as a child. And we do get confirmation that Akamura actually has seen Chihiro before. It was just that Chihiro was a baby. Now, what's very interesting is the first thing that Akamura actually says to Chihiro is how you've grown, which is coincidentally the exact same thing that Yura says to Chihiro. The very first thing Yura says is how grown up you've gotten, or like, look at how you've grown, or something like that. But it's the exact same thing that Yura says first, which is pretty interesting. He also, it's so funny, Akamura is stood there making the same, like, weird, he's acting just like Chihiro's dad. And obviously I know him and Kunishige aren't related, but if I have a feeling that Kunishige's wife, or Chihiro's mother, or Akamura's sister, same person, like, had that kind of behavioral pattern, like maybe she was the one that taught Kunishige about, being loose instead of boxed in, and like she moved like this. It kind of makes sense, I can see it in Akamura. He's doing the same thing. I don't know, he just looks like Chihiro. It's weird. I don't even know. But he seems like a really normal dude, which is kind of shocking. Like, he's not got these kind of extreme views where he's thinking everyone should think like him. He's very accepting of the fact that people disagree with him and have different morals and have different ideals. But it's kind of just like he understands that he has the power to make what he believes to be right a reality. So he doesn't care what other people think or what they want. He just uses his power to, bring forth a world that he genuinely truly believes is the right one. He actually is literally just like Chihiro. He stands there and says bar for bar the same thing as Chihiro. He says the enchanted blades are to eradicate evil and protect the weak, which is a very extreme interpretation of those words, very different to what Chihiro actually wants now, right? Chihiro is not the Sword Saint. Chihiro stands there talking to this guy and outright says the malediction was wrong. That is why my dad sealed away the blades, because the malediction was wrong. You killed innocent people. The justification that Akamura gives is those kids on that island they had the same blood as the invaders. They were indoctrinated with the same teachings. They were dangerous. They were our enemies, and I killed our enemies. Like, all right, Eren Yeager, we get the point, brother, right? Anybody who has a different ideology and that ideology potentially threatens your world or your country, or even if they just are related to people like that, then you have to kill them. Cool. Kill all your enemies. Right. Yeah, bro is actually actually moving like Eren. But Chihiro just straight up says, nah, Kunishige sealed them away because that was wrong. Like, that's wrong. You killed loads of people. And Soga's like, all right, so that's what your dad told you, yeah? All right, bet, cool. If we're gonna do it that way, I see how it is. And so then he asks, why would Kunishige make a 7th blade? And Chihiro then confirms that it's to destroy the enchanted blades. And based on the panel that follows that moment, Soga looks, I don't know, he looks shook almost. Like, he's just realized that there is now the existence of a weapon that can basically tear down everything he believes in. Like, the absolute power needed to protect this country. He's staring at a weapon in the hands of Kunishige's child capable of eradicating that power for good. And even if he kills Chihiro, he can't destroy the Enten. So that weapon now exists in the world and there's nothing he can do about it. So you can tell from that panel, he sees Enten as a genuine threat to everything he believes in, which is really interesting. But yeah, so it does seem like, you know, Chihiro's standing there talking to this guy, realizing like, wait, first of all, this is my uncle, and second of all, he's saying the same thing as me. He's saying the swords must be used to eradicate evil and, like, protect the weak. That's literally what Chihiro believed at the beginning of the story, right? And this is the extreme. This is the extreme case of Chihiro. Like, if he followed that ideal straight to the end, this is apparently where he would lead to. So it's a really nice parallel between Akamura and Chihiro, and it's hopefully now going to be about making sure Chihiro doesn't go down that path, at least long-term for his character. Short-term, I ain't got a clue. I've already said, I don't know what's going to happen now. Samura isn't going to beat him. Chihiro isn't going to beat him. Nobody's going to beat him. I don't know. We haven't been told if there's a time limit on how long he can hold this body for. Now he's chatting about killing Hakuri because he's related to the Sazanami and has the same technique as the first patriarch of the Sazanami clan. According to him, all people, you know, even in association with the Rakuzaichi, need to be murdered, even though he knows full well Hakuri is a pretty chill dude. He's like, no, he's got the technique. He's from the family. I am going to go down there and kill him. Chihiro's like, wait, no, you can't hurt Hakuri. What the hell? And Akamura, his uncle, by the way, Akamura turns to him and he's like, also, I'm going to kill anyone who gets in my way, bruv, which is basically him saying, if you try and stop me, I'm just going to kill you too. I don't think he wants to kill Chihiro, but I think if Chihiro genuinely does stand in the way of him and the people he wants to kill, he will kill him, because I don't think he's going to stop at anything. This guy's just got hella aura. He's talking so nonchalantly, and what he's saying with such confidence that it almost makes you like question if he's right, because again, this is how Chihiro was thinking. This is the same mindset as Chihiro, just a very extreme version. Chihiro discovers that he was the uncle and gives us a little internal monologue about how frustrated he was that he didn't know he was this close to the mass murderer of the island. But what's very interesting about this internal monologue is that it's kind of narration instead of speech, right? And it's written in the past tense, like he's speaking as if things have already happened. So this is me thinking that maybe time skip theory is real, and this is Chihiro actually recalling the events of this day to someone in the future, because he goes, at first I was upset. Why didn't anyone tell me I was related to the Swordmaster? But then it made sense, and it kind of goes on. It's like he's speaking in past tense, which is like, is this a narration from the future? I don't know, but it's just weird, isn't it? Chihiro then shits himself, literally just standing in Akamura's presence makes Chihiro freeze up and poo himself. Like, he can't move. He feels like if he moves, he's just gonna die. Like, this guy has insane aura. This panel is beautiful. Now, Akamura stands there, aura farming, and says, I must fulfill that mission. And by that mission, he of course means to eradicate evil and protect the weak. The first chapter of this manga is called Mission. Him and Chihiro are literally the same. They set out with the same mission. Now it's about Chihiro finding his own path, and this is the path that Soga was led down. It's great. I can't wait to see how, I was gonna say Gege. I can't wait to see how Hokazono cooks with it, but I really like the parallel. I'm so interested in Akamura, and yeah, he's just got hella aura. Like, I don't know, it's just tying together so well. Anyway, Samura intervenes because he's alive, obviously, and then we get even more foreshadowing that Samura's gonna die when Akamura says, yo, Samura, your healing powers can't keep up, man. Like, you may have the immortal phoenix, but let me just make sure you know, my blade can kill you. And Samura's like, yeah, I know you can kill me if you want to, bro. And then they clash, and remember, Samura is the fastest swordsman. Well, supposedly. Samura's EI, fastest EI, is being matched by a non-EI sword technique from the Sword Saint. And the only reason that the Sword Saint didn't master EI White Purity is because he doesn't like Itzo Shirikai, which tells us a lot of things. It tells us he is a super genius natural who could have mastered the technique should he want to. It also tells us he doesn't need the technique. And it also tells us that Itzo Shirikai is again going to be a very important character moving forwards, because why do we keep bringing him up? It's like the whole, with the exception of Satoru Gojo, of course. Itzo Shirikai, we've never met him, like, in the present, but his name just keeps coming up. He has to be important later on. I'm going to crash out if he's not. And the fact the Sword Saint has any strong opinions about him in general just kind of makes me curious. But yeah, we also then get confirmation in this dope panel that the unsheathed Mogatsumi actually has more than 3 abilities. So the reason these abilities haven't been used previously is because only the Sword Saint can fully unsheath the sword. And one of them is likely going to be called Ant, because we do see ants crawling on the floor along with Centipede along to the tip of the Shinichi, or Mogatsumi, or whatever you want to call it now. I don't care. Samura then stands in front of Chihiro and he's like, his ideology is too extreme. Now we have to kill him now. now, well, there's going to be another malediction, just like Yura predicted, by the way. In fact, where they're stood in the city right now looks exactly like what Yura predicted was going to happen. So maybe Yura really does have foresight. Like, he might just have a future telling ability. Akamura calmly asks Chihiro to stop, and for good reason, because despite how delusional Samura might be, there's no way these two are stopping this guy, which is why, again, I don't know where we go from here. They're not going to stop him. He wants to go kill her. I don't know. I don't know. It's like Sukuna being unleashed in Shibuya. You have to accept it and then just wait for it to resolve itself. You just got to wait until he changes back into Yuji, because there's nothing you can do about it in the moment. You just got to let it happen. And speaking of Sukuna, the final page is a beautiful double spread where he gets kind of like Akamura looks all, I don't even know how to explain it. Liney? Wibbly? Wobbly? You know that frame of Sukuna in the Blu-ray when he like pump fakes Mahoraga and he goes all wobbly? That's what he looks like. I don't know. It's like a really rough art style. He looks like a ghost. It's so cool. And we get the narration saying, you know, this guy right here is why Kunoshige sealed the blades. And Chihiro takes up his sword being like, I'm the one who bears the N10. I have to face him. I also have a mission to fulfill. And it's like the original mission versus the new mission. And it's such a good parallel. And it's just so dope. And as much as I love it, even with Samura here, I don't know where we go from here. Do you know what I mean? I normally have more insight when I do a chapter review. I normally have an idea where we're going. I have a theory. I don't know. I'm gonna crash out, bro. Hokuzono just needs, I don't even know. Just like, subscribe. I can't be bothered.